Michael? Hi, I'm Jacqueline.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'll be conducting your interview today for the mediation.
Okay.
Would you like some tea or anything to drink?
No, thank you. I'm
Okay,
good.
perfect. Let's sit down. When I was looking at your resume, I noticed that we have the same birthday.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
exciting.
April 24th, 1992.
Good day for you.
Yeah, so I've heard. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to ask you a couple questions just to get a better idea about your fit for the position. It'll include like some reaction questions, some hypothetical role-play things. If you have any questions throughout or need some elaboration on the questions, feel free to ask.
All right.
All right?
I don't know if I edited my resume recently. I don't know if maybe you want an update version.
Sure. Thanks.
Nothing too extravagant, just a couple grammatical changes and stuff.
Great. So let's start. I noticed on your resume that you went to the University of Portland. Here, that's a good school.
It's a very good school.
How would you say that your education there, or perhaps another experience with, has prepared you for what we're looking for?
Well, obviously from my resume, I was an organizational communications major. You know, I've applied myself to various situations where I've had to associate with others. You know, I had to organize groups. I've had to lead people, and you know, I've just had a lot of experience with working with others. So, and communicating with people who are different from me. For instance, study abroad, I had to, you know, communicate with different cultures of people. So it offered me a lot of insight. So.
Cool. So you said you have to work with a lot of groups. My next question is concerning like when there's conflict in a group. So just have, you know, a situation I'd like to ask and see how you would respond to that. So Sam on several accounts has made negative, inappropriate comments to a few clients. For example, yesterday in yoga, Sam was overheard saying, "Jolene, did you forget your deodorant today? Perhaps you should stand near a window." In regards to Sam's behavior, how would you discipline that as a HR assistant?
Well, considering it's just more verbalized, I would say just not really discriminatory, but just kind of just unkind words, basically. It's not the most posing threat, but it is very hurtful to the other person. I would definitely do a one-on-one talk with them, kind of look, you know, list out what they've been saying, how it's affecting not only the person, but how it might be affecting others around them. Because, I mean, if someone's associated with other people and stuff's happening, they'll be influenced by it as well. So maybe they'll feel intimidated or a little conscious about maybe their own smell, you know, if they forgot deodorant or something. And I would kind of tell them, like, you know, this isn't something, you know, this really hurts the other person. It's, if you keep this up, you know, disciplinary actions will have to ensue, but I feel like since it is just more verbal, it would just have to be like a warning the first time, and then maybe restrictions on how often they can go.
Yeah. So. If the behavior continued, what disciplinary actions would you suggest taking?
You said it was a yoga class, right? Yeah, I would probably start maybe banning them, but not really banning them, but saying like you can't make, or you're not allowed to come to next week's lesson per se, as like a, you know, you keep this up, and then if it continues, then I would just cancel them from the class entirely.
Cool. Wonderful. So I'd also like to ask you a question about conflict between employees. We currently have 3 front desk workers. Jordan and Ryan have been complaining about Lizzie and her work style. She leaves her desk unorganized and it forces them to pick up after her. And they have brought this to your personal attention. So my question is, how would you conduct a mediation between this conflict?
Well, I would have all 3 people come to like maybe a private room, private setting, so that they can just kind of talk it out with one another, kind of mediate, so that nothing bad happens between them, but definitely allow the other 2 to voice their opinions to her, saying, you know, like, we are always having to pick up after you. It requires extra work from us when this is your mess. And then if she doesn't comply or she, you know, disciplinary action would have to obviously be taken into account too. But I mean, it doesn't really if it doesn't really hold her back from work, or doesn't really hold back anyone from work, it's not like it's inhibiting their work in the workforce. It's just that she is a bit messy. But I mean, it would have to be something that the people would have to settle for themselves, because it isn't exactly inhibiting their work. So I definitely allow them to kind of voice it out to each other and try to come up with some agreement between each other.
Okay. So now that I kind of have an idea of how you would handle things in the workplace, I'd like to know what personally interests you about this position and this job.
Well, interests me is, it is a very, I like the idea of the job. It is nice. I do feel like in our society, a lot of women do feel, these pressures on themselves, and then they just take it negatively. And it bothers me. I've had, I've known people to have these kind of issues before, and it's always hurt me. So I like the opportunity to help out people when I haven't been able to help them out before. And it just seems like a lot of fun. Like your retreat thing, like it sounds like a very great idea. It sounds like something that would benefit a lot of women, and it would be something I'd like to be a part of.
Wonderful. Thanks. So I have just 2 more questions. We have to maintain confidentiality with our clients, and I have a question regarding that. And it's a role play question, so I'm going to have a script for you, and I'd just like you to respond to how you would deal with this situation. So Taylor works in our 24-hour hotline and has access to personal data of clients. Taylor is overheard making insensitive comments regarding Rhonda's personal issues with her weight and size, and was heard by the client herself, who came in to the office that day. So Rhonda later calls the HR department to complain about Taylor and her insensitivity and her personal violation of privacy. So if you don't mind, we're going to role play that phone conversation.
Can I get one clarification? You
Yes.
said it was Rhonda that was talking about the client, and the client overheard her?
Taylor works for us in the hotline department. She was overheard by Rhonda, who is our client,
Oh,
gossiping about Rhonda.
okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just...
It's a very dramatic situation. Okay, so, hello, I'm a client of your organization, and when I came in today, I overheard upsetting comments about my weight and felt offended.
Can I ask who it was that was making these comments to you?
Her name was Tyler, and she works in the hotline department.
Really? Did she know, was this something, were you online with her when she was making those comments?
No, I came into the office today for yoga, and I heard her talking to another employee about it.
That's not good at all for her. She knows strictly that we have a very enforced privacy doctrine. Do not worry, we will take appropriate disciplinary actions for Taylor, and we promise this kind of insensitivity will not happen again, especially on your behalf or anyone else. We are working on we have a climate where we want to improve, women. We want to improve your confidence within yourself, and these kind of negative comments work against our own, basically, mission statement for that.
All right, thank you. All right. So, I would just like to ask you now, you mentioned our mission statement, so I would just like to understand what you think the expectations for a beautiful imperfection employee should be.
The expectations for the employee? They should definitely be, for an employee, it should be someone who's very considerate, straightforward, someone that's not going to offend people, someone who understands that words can hurt, and that you're supposed to work to increase the confidence of women, and not just women, but everyone in society as well. But a lot of women do feel the negativity of society, and that the person should be able to apply what society has done to them, but maybe in a positive way, maybe reverse the role. Someone who can be very creative with their work, and in turning people around, someone who's very supportive and helpful too.
Great. So we talked about how you would discipline employees and conduct mediation, and what you consider to be a good employee. Do you have any questions for me or anything you'd like to tell me before we?
I've always been curious. It is a topic of society, but do you have any kind of like sustainable protocols in your corporation? It's just a curiosity. Like
Sustainable, like recycling and going green.
yeah, something like that. Maybe something that shows that we're not just for people, or for any kind of sustainable or environmental social impact, basically.
Yeah, well, we are centered in Portland, so we have all the compost and the recycling and things, but we also try and go as paperless as possible. And during our retreats, when we have brunches and luncheons and stuff, we do donate the uneaten food.
Okay, so you do support charities and everything?
Yeah, we host co-events with charities and fundraisers. We have a couple like fun walks and things like that too.
Okay. Yeah, because the website definitely said stuff about the retreat, but I was wondering, like, anything else to help people kind of, I don't know, feel good about themselves, other than just like about themselves, feel good about themselves, helping other people too as well, maybe.
Yeah, we do offer that. It's something that definitely comes into light once you become a part of the organization, you like attend the office and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
You'll definitely be hearing from us soon.
Awesome, thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.